8-8, 7-9. I think I nailed that prediction there. I don't think a pocket passer is going to win games for them. He can go to somewhere. He can go somewhere else and do that. I don't know who drafts near the Patriots. Here, where are the Pats? Okay. The Chargers don't need a quarterback. Niners, no. Giants, give me one. Maybe with the Broncos or the Panthers. I think he does well there. Broncos or Panthers might be a good place for him. But if he goes to the Pats, it might be fine. But they got to be aggressive at free agency. And as I heard a lot of people say, Belichick has a plan. But there wasn't a plan here. I don't know if Mac Jones really is the plan here. But here's another thing you can look at. They basically have their entire defense opting out. And their receiving core opted out too. So, let's cut them some slack here. We'll see what happens next year. Alright, so 2 of the 5 oldest coaches in the NFL are in the Super Bowl. A big part of life is adapting. And it's free. You don't need to give up any money for it. Andy Reid and Gruden were both on Mike Holmgren's Packers staff. Gruden still plays old school football. What makes Andy Reid so great is that he adapted. Shanahan's out, McVay's out, LaFleur's out. Andy Reid's the alpha here. He's the king. He was the first coach, Andy Reid, to think of 3rd and 2 as a passing down. Everyone thinks it's a running down, okay. Run here, we can get an easy 2 yards. But he thinks, let's pass it. He thought that with the Eagles, a while ago. He just didn't have the quarterback to do that. And honestly, I think he's right. You can't stop a good receiver. You can't stop a Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers connection. You can't stop an Allen Diggs. You can't stop a Hill Mahomes. You can stop a run game. The Packers have not had a very good run game all year. They shut down the Patriots. Bucks and Fournette. Nick Saban, 5 years ago, adapted to a spread offense. One thing this COVID thing has done it's unraveled rigid people. There's rigid people who like to stick to what they're doing. Russell Westbrook. Actually, hold on, let me bring up this point first. LeBron, if you look at his 3-point attempts each year, it goes up. He's adapting. He's become a pretty good 3-point shooter in the past couple of years. And LeBron was boring in his first couple of years. Kobe was what makes some of these players likable is Kobe was artistic. Wade was a small guy that played big. LeBron was just bigger and ran people over. He was boring. But once it got squeezed out, LeBron started taking more threes, and he's become a pretty good 3-point shooter. Westbrook is rigid. It's becoming a shooting league. You gotta shoot. And Westbrook does everything but shoot. He rebounds, he passes, he plays defense, scores down low, he scores a mid-range. He can shoot mid-range. He doesn't shoot threes. You gotta shoot threes in this league. I like Westbrook. I do. But he's not... he doesn't play the way you're supposed to right now. Alright. So, we're gonna go back to the conservative play on McDermott and LaFleur's part. They both lost this week. They both play conservative. I thought conservative play was the way. Always how I thought. I thought, let's just be... Let's not do anything crazy. And that's because I listen to analytics. Analytics should be thrown out in critical situations. You shouldn't think of them in critical situations. No matter what analytics say, you have to go big against the Chiefs. Just because analytics are like, oh, it's risky, nah. You're playing the best offense in a good 10 years. Alright? You're playing the most explosive offense since the 99 Rams. They were explosive in 2018. Do you remember how great they were? Them and the Rams, like, holy crap. Those offenses. I'm still mad they were robbed of a Super Bowl there. I would have loved to see a Chiefs-Rams Super Bowl that year. But who got in the way? Tom Brady. But, alright. You know, when you're playing an offense that good, you have to play big. And, like, Rodgers' personality is unique. He is difficult. I know that. If you put it in his hands for the final play to go for it, or you should put it in his hands for the final play to go for it. He wasn't happy with that play. You could see him on the sidelines. He wasn't happy with that. You know, put it in my hands. What are you doing? So not only was the floor... I still don't mind the field goal call. I don't mind it. I don't know if it was the right call or not. To me, it wouldn't have mattered. They still would have had to go for 2 to even tie the game. And they got Tom Brady, and he was going to have, like... he had a 2-minute drill. Giving Tom Brady a 2-minute drill is like giving him a whole quarter. So he could have at least gotten a field goal. There is arguments, though, because the defense did play well. They only gave up 19 first downs. They had 3 picks, so I would definitely trust them. And considering how many first downs they got in the first half, their second half defense was incredible. So maybe they could have stopped Brady. But I mean, he's a tough guy to stop. In a 2-minute drill. So I don't know how to react to it, but this is definitely one of those reasons as to why you should have went for it. You're risking Rodgers' happiness, and you're risking potentially winning the game. Alright, so back to covering Rodgers' press conference. When they traded up to get Love, in hindsight, this is a fine move. I mean, it took me like 2 days to adapt to the situation. You know, alright, we did the same thing with Rodgers when we drafted Rodgers early for Favre. It was a great pick. You know, we looked ahead. Favre was still a great quarterback. He was leading them to NFC championships. Like Aaron Rodgers and Favre's career is too similar. Rodgers, he plays well in the NFC championship games. Like Favre would kind of disappear at times in the NFC championships. But right now, Rodgers is going to those NFC championships, but not winning. And they both won a Super Bowl early in their career. They are both record breakers. And they both, so far, can't win the championship game. And they both got a quarterback drafted on them early. But it worked out for the Packers. So, I mean, if the Packers can win a Super Bowl every 10 years, I wouldn't mind it. Because that's what it looks like is happening right now. If Rodgers literally plays out the same way Favre did, he will hop to 2 different teams in the next 5 years. Hopefully he doesn't go to the Jets. Because, I don't think he would fit there at all. I mean, I like the Jets, but I don't think that's the place for Aaron Rodgers at all. And hopefully he doesn't go to the Vikings. Holy crap. First of all, I don't even think the Vikings would want him. And also, I don't think it was a good fit anyway. So, I see the logic of it. But, like, when you look at it, none of the people that were on the board were going to be a difference maker in the championship game yesterday. Or on Sunday. We have a great linebacking core. They played very well on Sunday. So, Patrick Queen, the guy drafted after us. The guy, I believe the Ravens drafted after us. he wouldn't have been a difference maker. And from what I've learned about Aaron Rodgers from watching him for like 7 years, is he doesn't throw to rookie receivers. If you look at him throwing to Adams in his rookie year, no. He doesn't throw to guys. He gives them like a good couple. He gives them a couple throws in the season, and notice it and tries to figure out if he trusts them. If he trusts them, he starts throwing to them a lot. But if he doesn't, he ain't gonna throw to you ever. It's a trust thing for Rodgers, and he didn't trust a rookie receiver the minute he sees them. So a rookie receiver wouldn't have been a difference maker. Do I think they should have drafted a receiver? Yes, but I don't think they would have made a difference. I'm not overreacting to his reaction at all. I think it was just utter disappointment from him. You can't ask a guy 5 minutes. I think this is the most crushing loss of Aaron Rodgers' career. Because 7 years ago, when he lost to the Seahawks in overtime, he was, 30 years old? He had time to go. He had plenty of time to go. It was heartbreaking. Holy crap, was it heartbreaking. But he had a lot of time to go, so that's not that heartbreaking. He's 37 right now. He just lost after throwing 3 touchdowns, 300 yards, and an 101 quarterback rating. It was so hopeless for him at the end of the game because he didn't have the ball in his hands. The coach decided to go for a field goal. So it's a very heartbreaking loss here. And it came down to one single holding call. So this is a very crushing loss. You don't ask a guy... You can't expect to... you can't ask a guy 5 minutes after the most crushing loss of his life about his future and not expect him to answer that way. I think... I'm not going to overreact to it. I think it was just utter disappointment on Aaron Rodgers' part. Alright. Alright, so we got some more news here. But God, I mean, I think this is being blown out of proportion. I don't think he wants to go. I think it was utter disappointment. So let's not overreact to this. Alright, here we go. Alright, so LeBron scores 46, 21 in the fourth quarter. I love a petty moment. Everyone can relate to this, too. Like, you hear someone say something, and you're like, is that what you really think? Alright, how about this? And he just became, something I love about this is, it was Kobe's, unfortunately, Kobe's anniversary of death. It's been a year. It's upsetting. But he just became the first 35 or older player to score over 40 since Kobe in 2016. Alright. So Harden is embracing experience with the Nets. And honestly, Harden and KD look like they fit. They do. I think what the Nets are realizing now is, because I've seen some trade speculation, I think the Nets are realizing they have to get better defensively. They're going to score, and God will they score. But what about their defense? I think they're going to win the East. They look good. I think they're going to win the East. But they got to go all in defensively if they want to win the East. I thought they would go second in the East and make the Eastern Conference Finals, That's what I said in my first episode. So we'll see what happens. So holy crap, does this make Beasley look a lot better than we even thought. I have always personally thought Beasley was the most underrated wideout in the league. I think him and Cooper Kupp are very underrated. He played the playoffs with a broken fibula. His final 3 games, he played his final 3 games with a broken fibula. He was told to not play but he got some meds and he